Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4 on this Wednesday.
Beautiful afternoon outside, but there's a lot of work to do to get ready for fall.
Yes, and fall starts next week.
Yep.
So Lisa Briggs will be out in the backyard, and she's going to show us what we could do now to get our lawns and gardens ready for winter.
I feel like I should put up my Christmas lights or something now. Take advantage of this weather because you know it's going to turn.
You know, Amazon now, you don't have a real tree. But Amazon's will deliver live trees this year to your home.
Oh, that's interesting.
$115.
Wow. Well, then you miss all the fun of picking it out and cutting it down, and I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a little early for that conversation.
It is. Let's get through this first. Here's what's making news.
Excuse me.
On this Wednesday. Hurricane Florence has been downgraded to a Category 3 storm, but the Weather Service is still calling it the storm of a lifetime. We'll have the latest.
The deadline is approaching for local communities to file damage reports from the flooding in order to get money from FEMA. And the federal government is cracking down on retailers that sell e-cigarettes to children. Let's take, oh, excuse me. I don't know if I have allergies.
You got to quit smoking. That's the e-cigarettes.
No, never. I've never done that in my life. I think it's, I don't know if it's pollen or ragweed or what it is.
I woke up a little clogged up today, too.
Yeah,
so
sorry about that.
Lots of stuff going on.
Let's take a look outside today. It is a beautiful afternoon. These are the giraffes at the Henry Vilas Zoo. Well, aren't they amazing?
Yeah, I love giraffes.
A little later this hour, we're going to be talking about orangutans. There's an expert at the zoo tonight who's going to be talking about his life's work trying to save wild orangutans. That's coming up.
Yep. The pleasant weather persists, however, and the persistent, yes, Dave is doing his camel impression.
Yes, I'm just trying to do any impression that I can to keep my mind off of Florence, because that is where all eyes are fixated on right now, is with this hurricane. Now downgraded, as Mark and Susan said, to a Category 3. Here is what it looks like on visible cloud track, but don't get it twisted, folks. It is still a very, very dangerous storm. That wind at 120 miles per hour. So the max winds have gone down about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's it. So it is a very high-end Category 3, and it could re-strengthen into a Category 4 storm before it makes landfall. Probably late Thursday into early Friday morning is the time frame with this. So we'll talk much more about Florence later on in the show. A live look in Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam. Not seeing many clouds at all, in contrast to the picture that we just saw. So it's a nice day right now across southern Wisconsin. Some severe weather well to the north and west across portions of northern Minnesota. But for southern Wisconsin, Doppler track once again remaining quiet. Temperatures are in the low to mid 80s generally, and humidity has come up a little bit in the upper 50s and lower 60s. That's about 5 to 10 degrees more humid compared to this time yesterday. Wind speeds are out of the south, and we can thank those southerly winds for bringing us a little bit more humidity at about 8 to 15 miles per hour. Live look in Madison on the WISC-TV Skycam. Not too many clouds showing up, lots of blue sky, lots of sunshine. And skies will stay clear over the next few hours as temperatures fall through the 70s into the middle 60s by later on tonight. Here's your first alert traffic update. Things not looking too bad at Todd Drive and the Beltline. No slow go showing up just yet in both directions. We are looking good. Dane County, no major accidents to report. Of course, we still do have those flood-related closures that you need to be aware of. Then we are starting to see some of those backups as far to the west as Seminole Highway and also closer to Fish Hatchery Road. Starting to see some brake lights closer to John Nolan Drive and Stoughton Road as well. Here your drive times a little bit slow Verona Road to John Nolan eastbound. That's 7 minutes. Average speed of around 35 miles per hour. Other routes in and around Madison not looking too bad. The Beltline to Janesville, 28 minutes. Average speed of around 65 miles per hour. Coming up in your first alert forecast, we'll talk much more about Florence and kind of why it's doing, what it will do over the next couple of days. And we'll talk about our next chance of rain coming up next week in your forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave, thank you very much.
First at 4, millions of people on the East Coast are scrambling inland as Hurricane Florence moves toward land.
The National Weather Service is calling it the storm of a lifetime, bringing winds, storm surge, and close to 2 feet of rain in some areas. Courtney Zabowski reports from Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina.
From the Carolinas to Virginia, coastal communities are all but abandoned.
North Carolina is about to face the power of Hurricane Florence. Disaster is at the doorstep and is coming in.
On Wrightsville Beach, Mark Evangelist is packed up and almost ready to evacuate.
We're going to leave after we go surf for a little bit. This is our last little chance to run on the beach and catch it before it all gets really crazy.
Florence is forecast to smash into the Carolinas by Friday and then stall along the coast, bringing hurricane conditions for 24 hours or more.
This is not going to be, one of those storms that hit and move out to sea. This is going to be, a Mike Tyson punch to the Carolina coast.
Wrightsville Beach is a ghost town. Businesses are boarded up and homes empty as people rush to meet tonight's mandatory evacuation deadline. That won't include Laura Glantz. Terms like catastrophic, the big one, are being used to talk about Florence. Yes. That doesn't scare you?
No, it doesn't.
The view from space shows the massive size of the storm, which could affect more than 5 million Americans.
The inland flooding threat is extreme. 15 to 25 inches of rain is forecast, with up to 40 inches near the exact center of Florence.
With a slight decrease in the maximum winds, the National Hurricane Center now puts the storm at a Category 3, but says it is still forecast to be extremely dangerous when it hits land. Courtney Zabowski for WISC News 3.
And the state of Georgia is also preparing for a possible hit in case the storm takes a turn to the southwest. It is a crucial time as well for Wisconsin communities impacted by flooding in recent weeks.
In the next few days, final assessments will be made to determine which counties will be part of a federal disaster assistance request. Eric Franke is in the News Center with more details on this. Eric.
Yeah, Mark and Susan, this stretch of dry weather has enabled county emergency management officials to get out there, collect the damage information, but they do have a message for people. Officials want people impacted by the flooding to make sure they call 211 or their individual county emergency management directors to get in their damage information. Don't delay, because all that information is going to be submitted by Monday to Wisconsin Emergency Management. From there, they compile a damage assessment of businesses, homes, and public infrastructure. They'll put together a complete final report next week, which the governor then files to FEMA to conduct a preliminary damage report. That's the first step in filing a federal disaster declaration.
A lot of questions we've been getting is, where's FEMA? And the process to receive a federal disaster declaration does take a little time. And that's the reason why we're being very cautious and working very closely with the county emergency management offices to make sure we get the most accurate totals.
FEMA teams are then expected in Wisconsin later this month to conduct that preliminary damage assessment in the counties that are identified by Wisconsin Emergency Management for individual and or public assistance. Again, they're asking for your patience. That request from the governor would likely not go to the president and FEMA until early October. They do encourage homeowners to keep cleaning things up, also record and document your damage, keep any receipts as well. You get this sense FEMA is going to be pretty busy in the next few months.
Exactly, exactly. All right, thank you, Eric.
Some people who live at Prairie Park Senior Apartments on Madison's west side are waiting to find out if they'll be able to move back in today. Historic flooding forced more than 100 seniors to evacuate on August 23rd. They've slowly been able to go back in and get the things they need while the building's electrical service and fire alarm panel are getting fixed. Final inspections being conducted this afternoon, so people on the first floor will likely be able to move back in today. People who live on the second and third floors will have to wait until the elevator is working again or something is installed to make the top floors accessible for people with disabilities. But that could take about a week. Homeowners in Monroe are voicing their concerns after homes in the city were recently reappraised.
The citywide appraisal has some people worried that they will be paying higher taxes. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us in our bureau at the Janesville Gazette with why the city is confident that taxes will remain the same. Adam?
Well, the last time homes in Monroe were appraised was 2007, and since then appraisers say the market has changed, and city officials say, well, it only makes sense home values change along with the market. Now, Associated Appraisal Consultants met with Monroe residents upset about the recent changes in home values today. Recently, homeowners received letters telling them their property values had changed. Some went up as close to $100,000. Although homeowners are worried this will increase their taxes, city officials say today this isn't the case.
This city, including myself, the Finance Taxation Committee and the Council, are doing everything we can to keep your taxes the same for the city. That means that we're looking at all of our operations, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that we keep that levy the same amount.
Rath says the city is in control of how much properties are taxed, regardless of what the properties are worth. But some people today still very upset, not satisfied with the answers they were given during the sit-down consultation. I'll catch up with one Monroe resident who is still very concerned. That comes up later tonight at 5.
We will see you then. Adam Duster reporting live from the Bureau at the Janesville Gazette. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Jeff Fager, the top executive at CBS's 60 Minutes, is out. Fager says he's leaving the company following reports in the New Yorker that he made inappropriate advances on women at parties and protected men accused of misconduct. Fager has denied the charges. It comes 3 days after CBS Chairman Les Moonves was ousted following sexual misconduct charges.
The Food and Drug Administration announcing its largest crackdown in history on selling and marketing e-cigarettes to minors. It's estimated more than 2 million middle and high schoolers used e-cigarettes last year. The agency sent out more than 1,300 warning letters and fines to retailers and online shops caught selling to minors in an undercover sting from June to August.
I now have good reason to believe that it's reached nothing short of an epidemic proportion of growth. They treated these issues like public relations challenges rather than seriously considering their legal obligations, the public health mandate, and the existential threat to these products.
Gottlieb says if the industry doesn't step up to curb the problem, the FDA may consider banning flavored nicotine.
For those on the Aaron Rodgers watch, the Green Bay quarterback did not practice today. Both Rodgers and Coach Mike McCarthy are describing the injury he suffered on Sunday as a sprained knee. Now, as far as this Sunday, the coach says they are taking things day by day. Fingers crossed.
One day
it's the Vikings
at a time.
this weekend.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. At Lambeau. All right, there's more to come at 4. Orangutans take center stage at the Henry Viola Zoo this evening.
When we come back, a world-renowned orangutan expert is here to talk more about these intelligent, playful primates and what's being done to save them in the wild. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Welcome back. Apple held its annual new product event today.
It included a new phone that is bigger and more expensive and a new watch that can monitor your heart. The new 4th generation watch has a larger screen, a louder speaker, and more options to customize the watch face. But the device is a first of its kind, FDA-approved electrocardiogram that can detect an irregular heartbeat. Apple also introduced new versions of its iPhone 10. The 10's Max has a 6.5-inch screen, the largest they've ever produced. The most expensive one, too, at $1,099.
What?
Yeah, that's expensive. The new low-end iPhone sells for $749, and the watch starts at $399.
Pricey. It was a mixed day on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials added 27 points, closing at 25,998. The Nasdaq Composite Index lost 18, but the S&P 500 managed a 1-point gain. Well, a world-renowned expert in the fight to save the world's wild orangutans is in Madison tonight.
Dr. Jamartin Shahite is visiting the Henry Vilas Zoo to talk about his work with wild orangutans and his experience saving, rehabilitating, and relocating them. Dr. Shahite is the CEO of the Borneo Orangutan Survival Foundation. He's here tonight with Rhonda Schwetz, who is the director of, there we go, of the Henry Vilas Zoo.
Just kidding.
Good to see both of you. Hi, Rhonda, and Dr. Shahite, welcome to Madison.
Thanks for being with us today.
Tell us a little bit about how your work with orangutans began.
I working with the orangutan starting with one day some friends asking me to come to see the orangutan, and at that time I say I don't like the orangutan. And then when I coming to the orangutan, I see the baby eyes, it make you fall in love. Oh. But there's something that make me working hard for the orangutan is the male adult orangutan. He stay in the cage years and years, and the eyes without hope, something like the eyes with the loss of soul, and it makes me something. Oh, I think I can do something to make him have his soul back.
You couldn't help that particular animal, but you helped so many thousands of others since.
Yeah, it's part of that.
Why didn't you like them at first before you saw them? That's interesting.
Yeah, I was a lecturer at the time, teaching in the university, and then I think with the animal, with the wildlife, is part of just only part of those working in the field, something like that. Just try to find something, and then I use it to teaching my student. But after to see that, I think I have to working with full-time with that, and I retired from the university.
Oh, wow. Rhonda, we're very lucky to have orangutans in Madison. How many do we have at the zoo?
We have 3 currently. We have our male Datu, and then our 2 girls, Chelsea and Kawan.
And what do we know, or what don't we know about orangutans? What are they, what is it about them that is so unique and special?
You know, I really echo what Jamartin says, and that is the exact same thing happened to me at a zoo that I worked at. I looked at a big male orangutan, and they look right into your eyes, and there's just something so captivating. They can communicate so well just that way, and I felt the same way. We have to do something to make sure that these magnificent animals stay with us for our kids' generations to come.
And is that why you brought Jamartin in?
Well, we are so lucky to have him. I mean, this man has helped hundreds of orangutans get out of rehabilitation centers and get back into the wild. And we've been working together for several years, but really recently we've started to talk more about how can zoos be part of the conservation effort to get those orangutans back in the wild.
And captive animals cannot be let go into the wild. Is that correct?
Not the zoo animals, but
right.
The rehab animals are ones that could go back.
So tell us about the reserves in Borneo. Is that Borneo? Yeah, it's Borneo. There's, what, 100,000 left there?
Now there are 55,000 living there in the wild, but with the number 55,000, don't imagine it's too much. You have the stadium here for the American football. The capacity is 80,000. If I bring it all of orangutan from Borneo here, there is still space in the stadium.
Oh, that puts it in perspective.
Try to make it 50,000 is not a big numbers.
Are orangutans endangered?
Critically endangered, one level before extinct.
And what does that mean?
If we're not doing to protect the forest and to protect them in the forest, maybe they will be a part of the history.
So what specifically are you doing to help save them?
The key point that in our work is orangutan in the forest. God create them in the forest, right? Not in the cages.
Right.
And in the forest, they spreading the seed, make the forest growing better. And you and me got the oxygen. We have the fresh water. When we try to help the orangutan in the forest, we try to help ourselves at the end. That's the message that we need everybody knows.
And they are so human.
Oh, yeah, they really are.
It's incredible.
97% our DNA is similar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is that our closest relatives or chimpanzees?
Chimpanzees.
Yeah. And they're popular at the zoo, that's for sure, aren't they?
Yeah, they have a lot of fans come to see them every day.
Well, hopefully your work will help them survive and multiply. It's an important work. Thanks for being with us today.
Great to see both of you.
Thank you so much.
And the discussion about the orangutan conservation is this evening from 5:30 to 7 at the Henry Vilas Zoo. For tickets, go to vilaszoo.org.
Can you just show up, Rhonda, or should you need to get a ticket?
Head to the website.
Get tickets.
Okay.
Get tickets
All right,
before you go. All right.
Great to see you both. Thank you for coming tonight.
Coming up, the NFL sidelines will take a little different look this weekend.
There will be some male dancers cheering for a few teams. That's a first, and that's coming up after Dave's forecast.
Take a look at this. A slackliner takes things to the next level and quickly regrets it. Reckless Ben fails to pull off a difficult combo trick and ends up on the ground with several mousetraps snapping and sticking to his exposed skin.
Oh, oh, oh!
There are 500 traps under the slack line. What could go wrong? Now, in Reckless Ben's defense, earlier in the video, he did pull off 6 straight incredible moves before the last combo where he finally fails.
Now, are you sure this is not at UW-Madison? Because it looks like it's at a university, doesn't it?
I don't know. I'll have to check with Reckless Ben. Why would... Okay.
Just cut him some slack.
Well,
There you go.
It was amazing before he fell. That was pretty cool.
Scary stuff. It's Wednesday, September 12th. You know what? Let's encourage Reckless Ben because it's National Day of Encouragement.
Absolutely. It's also Video Games Day, the first commercial arcade game. Computer Space, released in 1971. Pong, released the next year.
Pong was a big hit. And best of all, today is National Chocolate Milkshake Day. Milkshakes were first mentioned in print in Britain in 1855.
They're supposed to be frozen, right?
A little more milk than shake. That's all right.
Here, I can shake it up. There we go.
That'd be good for your throat, for your
yes,
cough.
actually, thank you. Good idea.
Coat it a little bit.
Good idea.
Milkshake weather out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit on the warm side, a little bit on the humid side, but not too much to complain about.
Take the milkshake to the yard.
Exactly. That sounds like a plan. and I'm encouraging it, for sure. We'll talk more about this beautiful weather continuing, plus have an update on Florence in your first alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Haven't been able to use
Good afternoon. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Wednesday. Before we talk about the fantastic weather across southern Wisconsin, we need to talk about Florence because really all eyes are fixated on this, what is now a Category 3 hurricane. Max wind at 120 miles per hour, moving still to the northwest at about 15, 16 miles per hour. So that's going to take it closer to the Carolinas, making landfall around Thursday late into early Friday. So here's what we're talking about. Here's why Florence, we think, is heading to the Carolinas. So this is what we call a subtropical high. It has nothing to do with the tropics versus regular systems, but it's just the latitude at where it is. It's also known as the Bermuda high. You can probably see why. It's pretty close to Bermuda. So when this is pretty strong like it is right now, it really sends these systems close to the southeastern coast, and that's what we're seeing right now. But once it gets there, that's when it starts to act a little bit peculiar. So still a Category 3 storm in this latest forecast update as it begins to make landfall and then rapidly kind of decreasing in strength to a tropical storm and tropical depression. But that turn there is pretty rare when you consider it. But as far as chance of tropical storm winds goes, you could expect the coastal areas to definitely be in that, but that chance really goes pretty far inward. So that's something that we're watching, and also the rain, because as these storms turn, they stall and they can drop a lot of rainfall very quickly. So anywhere from 15 to 25 inches, even some areas of 30 to 40 inches of rain, not out of the question when it comes to Florence. Also dangerous storm surge and those hurricane force winds. Flash flooding could be a major concern and most likely will be a major concern. So here is why Florence is going to do that weird turn to the west and southwest. So here is the look at weather track. So on the East Coast, you see how the jet stream is well to the north and west. So once this system gets to the coast, there's nothing in the atmosphere that is going to control its movement. So it's like, all right, I guess I'm just going to hang out here. So it turns to the south and west until it can get picked up by the atmospheric flow, which won't happen for quite some time. And also the jet stream placement is why we've been so nice over the last couple of days, because we're kind of in between the two jet streams there. So the nice weather stays with us. Severe weather for portions of northern Minnesota, but for southern Wisconsin, we're looking dry and we're looking sunny outside. We started off with maybe a few clouds, but lots of sunshine on this Wednesday for Madison on the Edgewater Skycam. And we're also looking at those mostly sunny skies right now in Madison. Currently at 80 degrees, south wind at 9 miles per hour. That dew point in the upper 50s. High temperatures so far today in the low to mid 80s. Temperatures right now are pretty close to that. Some 70s have returned. Dew points are a little bit more humid compared to this time yesterday in the upper 50s and lower 60s, so a bit more noticeable outside, but still not too bad. Wind speeds are helping with that return flow of humidity, with south winds at about 8 to 15 miles per hour. So temperatures stay in the low 80s as we head into the weekend, but then cold front comes through next week early and brings our temperatures back down into the 70s. So you can see Florence there continuing to move to the north and west. Then for us, this low pressure system still well to our north and west. So that keeps any rain chances away for this weekend and into early next week. But then we start to welcome in our first chance of rain and thunderstorms in quite some time. Tomorrow will be in the upper 70s, partly sunny and very mild. A quick look closer to home. Really not much on the agenda for a future track across southern Wisconsin. Temperatures maybe a little bit cooler tomorrow, but not by much. The clouds building in by Friday, and we'll be once again in the upper 70s and low 80s for Friday and into the weekend ahead. Now into next week, a couple of chances for showers and storms. Shouldn't be anything major. We'll keep an eye on it. Any chance of rain after what we've experienced over the past month or so is a little bit of a cause for concern, but right now those rain showers on Tuesday don't really scare us too much. They're not a major concern, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Temperature is in the 70s into the middle of next week.
Any chance Florence will re-intensify?
There is a chance, but right now it's getting into the warmest waters, so it's about to leave those. So I think it stays a high-end Category 3 for a while. Still a very, very dangerous storm.
That is plenty.
And that hook to the south is very ominous.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, too, when you consider how these hurricanes usually move, but nothing in the atmosphere to pick it up, so that's the south.
Nothing to push her out of the way?
Exactly.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, for the first time in NFL history, male dancers will be cheering on the sidelines this weekend.
Of the 32 teams in the NFL, only 2, the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints, are featuring male dancers next to the females.
The change comes as the NFL faces criticism over how female cheerleaders are treated and paid. Jamie Yukas reports.
Napoleon Janice and Quentin Perrone are mastering all the right moves.
Had you ever thought that you would be one of the first male cheerleaders in the NFL?
No. For me and other guys, it just wasn't encouraged or talked about.
I've always been a little daredevil, not going to lie. But I think the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
The reward is a history-making turn, as the men are dancing the same routine traditionally performed by an all-female squad.
You still get giddy, it's crazy.
I was standing on the field, and I closed my eyes, and a breeze came by, and I heard the crowd roar, and I was like, ah.
The Los Angeles Rams tell us tryouts have always been open to everyone. But Quentin and Napoleon, both classically trained dancers, were the only men who ever showed up. And the ladies say the guys fit right in.
To have the first male cheerleaders officially on an NFL team, that's huge. Rams, we're making some moves.
The move toward gender inclusion comes after a season of lawsuits and complaints filed on behalf of NFL cheerleaders. 6 former Houston Texans cheerleaders claim they endured brutal working conditions.
We were bullied and we were body shamed for $7.25 an hour.
And a former Miami Dolphins cheerleader claims she was discriminated against based on her religion. Others are fighting double standards tied to their weight and wardrobe.
I felt humiliated and ashamed of my own body.
Sports writer Nancy Armour believes the time has come for teams to prove how much they value their cheer teams.
NFL teams have long said, oh, these are important members of our community. But the outfits and the roles that they have them play on Sundays haven't always reflected that. What better way to say, no, we are not trying to objectify our cheerleaders than by having men and women do it.
I quickly just glanced at Twitter, and there are people that think that you guys shouldn't be out there, that it should be the girls.
Nothing you can tell me that is going to hurt because I have the support from my friends, family, and my team. That's all I need.
The guys are downplaying their groundbreaking. But Quentin, who teaches dance, is proud to be making room on the sidelines for a new generation of cheerleaders.
For me to be able to inspire my kids and say that, honestly, you can really do anything.
Jamie Yukas, Los Angeles.
Quentin is an amazing dancer.
They are athletes.
Incredible.
The Packers do not have a cheer squad, so they won't be coming here. But hopefully more teams will join the pack.
Very interesting.
The group, not the pack.
Got it.
There's more to come at 4. Milk, it's what's good for you.
Even milk that is high in fat.
Full-fat dairy like whole milk may not be as bad for you as you may think. I'm Hillary Lane with a look at how more dairy can actually add more years to your life.
Well, I looked from the Henry Vilas Zoo. Can't really see any critters in that shot, but nice day to be at the zoo.
This is a great day to take your kids, though.
And when it comes to heart health, people who have been told to go with low-fat dairy, well, now there's a new study that finds whole-fat dairy might be good for you.
And it might also help your heart and help you live longer. Hillary Lane has more.
David Kaiser enjoys a glass of milk every day.
I grew up drinking milk. It's more flavorful than water, but healthier than most other flavored drinks like soda and things like that.
Now, a new study published in The Lancet finds 3 servings of dairy per day is linked to lower rates of cardiovascular disease and death.
The study was specifically looking at whole fat dairy, which is something that traditionally has been kind of like demonized and said is not good for us.
Registered dietitian Alyssa Rumsey says that's because of the higher fat content. The study also found people who only ate and drank whole-fat dairy had lower rates of death, heart disease, and stroke compared to those who had less whole-fat dairy. The study looked at 130,000 people in 21 countries. And while more research is needed to confirm the link, Rumsey says adding some extra whole-fat dairy can be part of a healthy diet.
If you have a good balance with fruits and vegetables and whole grains and lots of the unsaturated fats, so the fats that have very beneficial effects on cholesterol and on our health, then having whole milk dairy or the fat from dairy is probably not going to be a problem.
So let's talk about some of the easiest ways to incorporate dairy into your diet.
Sure. So like a super easy way, something that I have almost every day, is you can do a yogurt for breakfast. So doing yogurt, some fruit, some granola, some nuts can be like a really satisfying breakfast.
Rumsey says full-fat dairy products can often be a healthier option since many low-fat products have more added sugar for taste. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
Well, that's good news for the Wisconsin dairy industry.
Yes, it is, definitely.
Drink up. Well, it's hard to believe, but fall officially begins next weekend. Where did the summer go?
That means it's time to start cleaning up your yard and garden. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is out on the weather patio.
What's she cooking there?
I don't know, but she's going to have some... Oh, it looks like she's cutting a bulb in half.
Well, why not?
We'll get her tips when Live at 4 continues.
Good afternoon. Here is your Wednesday First Alert traffic update, taking a live look at Todd Drive and the Beltline. We see some slow go in both directions, and we can see that on our traffic map as well. Some yellows and reds right along that midsection where you'd expect those delays to start occurring. Average speeds not terrible, but still a little bit slow at about 20 to 30 miles per hour in the Beltline midsection. Verona Road to John Nolan eastbound, that's 11 minutes now, an average speed of around 25 miles per hour. And in the other direction, still a little bit slow in that same stretch. 7 minutes westbound, average speed of around 35 miles per hour. And that is your First Alert traffic update.
All right, Dave, thank you. Well, autumn is about a week away.
It is here. There's a lot of cleanup to do in the garden and with your lawn to get ready for fall. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
How was your wedding?
It was wonderful.
Your daughter got married over the weekend.
Congratulations to you and Harvey.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're glad you're back.
I am back and ready to go.
All right, so let's clean up the yard.
So let's clean up the yard. So you can certainly do fall fertilizer. That's a really good thing to do.
On the lawn.
And on your lawn, yes. That will help strengthen the root structure of the lawn and make it easier to handle winter stuff. Also cleaning up any disease stuff that you have in your yard. So any powdery mildew or black spot or any of that stuff. But you want to get that stuff out of your yard. You don't want to compost it. A lot of those things will winter over and reinfect next year.
Oh, yeah.
But the fun thing to do at this time of year is to plant bulbs.
Yes, indeed.
And so it's a little early for the planting, but it's not too early for the choosing.
Okay. For the shopping.
For the shopping, yes. And a lot of people just call everything that you plant at this time of year a bulb. And that's not really true.
You'd be wrong.
Because there are bulbs and rhizomes and corms and tubers and all that kind of stuff.
What's the difference?
So to tell a bulb, like this is a daffodil here, and this one is a tulip, you'll see the little baby plant is inside.
Yeah.
So think of like an onion or garlic. When you have garlic that's kind of sitting around and it starts to have that little green stem that comes out, that's a bulb.
But once you cut them in half, you're done.
Yes, you can.
So you don't want to cut them all in half.
This is just for purposes of demonstration.
Do not do this at home.
Do not do this at home.
All right.
So this is a corm, and so this is just a modified stem, and the plant bud comes up out of the top, but it's not contained inside the structure itself.
So what plant is that?
This is a crocus.
A crocus. Okay.
This is a crocus. So crocuses are corms. This is iris, which everybody is pretty familiar with, and this is a rhizome, which is a big stem that runs horizontally and then pops up along the excess of it.
And what's this big thing?
This is a fertilaria. This is one of my favorites because it's got a little funky smell.
Now you brought another big bulb.
Yeah.
What is this one?
This is a scilla. And this is just, I asked Gina today, what is the biggest bulb we have in the store?
For fall planting?
So this is for fall planting. It gets about 4 feet tall, really beautiful, powdery blue flowers, nice and tall stems.
So how far in the ground?
Which direction?
Okay.
Like this?
So usually you want a pointy stem up, roots down. Sometimes it's hard to tell on some bulbs. So if you plant them sideways, the bulb will know. You take the height of the bulb, and 3 to 4 times that is how deep you want to go. So this guy's going to go like a foot in the ground.
Well, good luck with that.
Tulips, you can usually do 6 to 8 inches.
And this is a handy dandy thing.
Yes. This goes in to the ground, and then it brings up the scoop. Then you put the bulb in the hole and then release the soil back into the hole.
And then it has measurements on the side.
It has measurements so you know how deep you are.
Is this bulb fertilizer? What is this?
Yes, and bulb fertilizer will help you get bigger flowers. You'll get more vigorous roots on your bulb, and sometimes it even will affect the color. You'll have brighter colors.
And you can put a bunch of things in the same area because they'll grow and bloom at different times.
I like to do that, especially where you have, big things and small things, where if you dig like a big trench or an area, and then you set them in and then backfill and then set other things on top, you get things that come up sort of intermittently and sort of tangled together. It looks a lot more natural than it would if you had the soldier thing.
And when should we be doing this?
Right, if you do the shopping now, when can we do the planting?
We generally like to say that bulbs should be planted after the 1st of October as the ground starts to cool. That way you'll get good root development and you won't get any stem development, which you don't want right now.
So it'll start growing a little bit before the ground freezes.
Underground, yes.
Well, that's
yes.
good. All right, so we got it.
Oops.
Few weeks. There goes that.
We just broke their bulb
Good thing
tool.
it's not breakable.
All right, so decide what you want to plant, clean up the garden.
Do some cleanup, do some bulb shopping, It's time, and then enjoy the rest of the Indian summer.
With this weather, yeah, it's just like summer. So.
Yes.
All right, Lisa, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. You're welcome.
We'll see you next week, I believe. You're on the program next Tuesday.
Yes. No, I don't know.
I'm used to her.
I'm going next week, so.
Okay.
Oh, it's 2 weeks.
We'll figure it out.
It's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, yes.
We'll see you then.
Yes,
We'll be right back with a final check of the forecast. Dave's back with a traffic update.
Yeah, we have on 138 near Stoughton. This is also near County Road A. There's a barn fire that's affecting traffic there, so just keep that in mind. As far as the weather goes, we're still looking pretty nice right now. Temperatures in the low 80s and mid 80s outside, and we will be falling through the 70s and 60s tonight. Another nice day on the way for tomorrow.
Summer's hanging on.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Tomorrow here on Live at 4, we'll find out more about the Overture Center's Rising Stars Talent Search finalists.
And Cheese Days in Monroe are among the highlights, making up the weekend in the 608 report. Emmy Fink will join us tomorrow on Live at 4.